First Contact and Survival. The observation deck of the UES Dauntless offered the best view in Earth's exploration fleet, and Captain Alina Reyes had chosen it deliberately for this moment. Jupiter's massive form dominated the viewport, its swirling storms a backdrop to the tiny moon they orbited. Europa. Beneath its icy crust lay an ocean that had beckoned humanity for decades. "Captain, you need to see this." Lieutenant Commander Hiroshi Tanaka's voice crackled through her comm unit. The excitement in his normally composed tone was unmistakable. Reyes made her way to the excavation site where Tanaka's team had been drilling through Europa's ice for the past 3 weeks. The passage opened into a cavernous chamber that shouldn't exist. Perfectly smooth walls gleamed under the harsh portable lights. Geometric patterns etched into surfaces that resembled metal but felt warm to the touch. "It's artificial," Tanaka said, unnecessarily. "Carbon dating puts it at roughly 12 million years old." Reyes ran her gloved hand along one of the symbols. "We're not the first to visit Europa. There's more." Tanaka led her deeper into the structure. "It's some kind of beacon or transmission device. Dr. Chen believes it's been dormant until our drilling activities triggered it." Triggered it? Reyes felt a cold knot form in her stomach. "It's transmitting, Captain. Outward. Away from our solar system." The implications settled over the chamber like a shroud. They had just announced humanity's presence to whoever might be listening. 3 days later, the response came. Reyes was reviewing survey data when alarms blared throughout the Dauntless. "Unidentified vessels detected, Captain," reported Lieutenant Park from Tactical. "Multiple signatures dropping out of some kind of FTL travel. Nothing like our jump drives." "How many?" Reyes asked, striding onto the bridge. 17. No, 23 vessels. Largest is approximately 4 kilometers in length. The main view screen showed sleek, obsidian ships with organic curves and pulsing violet lights along their hulls. They moved with a fluid grace that belied their massive size. "Open a channel, all frequencies, standard first contact protocols." For tense minutes, they'd broadcast peace messages in multiple formats. Mathematical sequences, simple pictographs, and basic linguistic patterns developed by xenolinguists for precisely this scenario. The response came as a lance of energy that sliced through one of the 3 survey vessels accompanying the Dauntless, vaporizing it instantly. "Evasive maneuvers." Reyes shouted as the bridge erupted into controlled chaos. "All personnel to battle stations." But the UES fleet was designed for exploration, not warfare. The second survey vessel, the Galileo, managed a desperate distress call before being torn apart by another energy beam. "They're targeting our engines," Tactical Officer Park reported, voice tight with controlled fear. "Pattern suggests they want to disable, not destroy us." "Prepare jump coordinates for Earth," Reyes ordered. "We need to warn them." The aliens, soon designated VRACs from fragments of intercepted communications, had technology centuries beyond humanity's reach. Their weapons bypassed shields as if they weren't there. Their hulls absorbed kinetic impacts from railguns without visible damage. As the Dauntless's engines struggled to power up for emergency jump, a smaller VRAX vessel moved alongside, extending tendrils of energy that probed the human ship's systems. "They're scanning us," Chief Engineer Alvarez reported from below decks. "I've never seen anything like it. They're mapping our entire technological infrastructure." "Can they access our navigational data?" Reyes asked, the implications chilling. "They're trying." In that moment, Captain Reyes made a decision that would later be studied in every military academy on Earth. Purge the nav computer. All of it. "Captain, that's our only way home. And their roadmap to Earth if they capture us. Do it now." As the VRAC's breaching pod attached to their hull, Reyes ordered the crew to emergency shuttles. "Scatter pattern Delta. Hide in Europa's radiation shadow. The Dauntless will be their focus." Reyes remained aboard with a skeleton crew of volunteers as the VRACs boarded. The aliens moved with unsettling precision, their armored forms resembling a hybrid of insect and reptile. 8 limbs, compound eyes that pulsed with the same violet light as their ships, and an evident hierarchy as smaller drones attended larger commanders. The human defenders fought desperately, but conventional weapons barely slowed the Vracs. Only when Alvarez improvised EMP devices did they gain any advantage, suggesting the aliens' technology had vulnerabilities to certain electromagnetic frequencies. In engineering, as Vracs forces closed in, Rise made her final move. Alvarez, status on the reactor modifications. Ready, Captain. But this will destroy the Dauntless, and hopefully take a few of them with us. She activated the ship-wide comm. All remaining personnel, final evacuation order. Get to the emergency pods now. Rise waited until the last pod ejected before initiating the sequence herself. The Dauntless's reactor had been rigged to generate a massive electromagnetic pulse, followed by a cascading overload. As her pod accelerated away, she watched her ship erupt in a blinding flare that engulfed two Vrax vessels caught in its radius. It bought precious time. The scattered human survivors regrouped on Europa's dark side, cobbling together equipment from their escape pods to monitor Vrax communications. What they learned was grim. The aliens were methodical conquerors who had subjugated dozens of species across multiple star systems. Their technology was biological in nature, merged with mechanical components in ways human science had only theorized. Most worrying, they operated with a hive mind efficiency that suggested either a shared consciousness or instantaneous communication. But they had weaknesses. The improvised EMP had damaged several Vrax drones permanently. Their ships, while powerful, maneuvered poorly in gravitational fields, and their tactics were rigidly predictable. They followed the same attack patterns regardless of circumstances. They'd never encountered a species like us, Dr. Chen observed during one strategy session in their makeshift base. They expect predictable responses based on technological capability. And we're anything but predictable, Rise replied, a plan forming in her mind. Humans have been fighting against superior firepower since we invented the spear. Sometimes the most primitive solution is the most effective. Using salvaged components, Tanaka's team managed to repair one long-range shuttle. With Europa's ice and abundant minerals, they fashioned crude but effective weapons targeting what they now understood as Vrax vulnerabilities. A month after first contact, as the Vrax prepared to leave Jupiter space, presumably for Earth, Captain Rice and her team enacted their desperate plan. They would never outgun the aliens, but perhaps they could outsmart them long enough to get home and warn Earth. What followed was a daring raid that exploited the Vrax's methodical nature. Using Europa's subsurface ocean as a shield from sensors, the humans approached a straggling Vrax vessel, deployed their jury-rigged EMP devices, and boarded the disabled ship before automated systems could recover. Inside, they found an environment hostile to human life. Atmosphere rich in sulfur compounds, gravity set to 1.4 Earth standard. But they also discovered the key to Vrax technology. Their ships were partially alive, grown rather than built, explaining their organic appearance and self-healing properties. Most critically, they captured the Vrax navigation system intact. It contained coordinates for hundreds of worlds, including, ominously, Earth. The aliens had known about humanity's homeworld long before the Europa beacon activated. They had been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. With the stolen Vrax ship and their newfound knowledge, Rice and her surviving crew set course for Earth. The journey would take weeks, even with the advanced propulsion system. They could only hope they would arrive in time to prepare a defense against the coming invasion. As Jupiter receded behind them, Captain Rice recorded a message for Earth's Unified Defense Command. We have made contact with an advanced hostile species we designate as the Vrax. They possess technology far beyond our current capabilities, but they are not invincible. They rely on predictable tactics and seem vulnerable to specific electromagnetic frequencies. We are bringing a captured vessel with crucial intelligence. She paused, looking at the unfamiliar stars ahead. Humanity faces its greatest challenge, but remember this. The Vraks expect us to behave according to their experience with other conquered species. Our unpredictability, our creativity in the face of overwhelming odds. These are our greatest weapons. Prepare Earth for war, but not the kind of war the Vraks are expecting. As the stolen ship accelerated toward home, Captain Alina Reyes allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. The Vraks had expected easy prey. They were about to learn that humans were anything but. Humanity's ingenuity. The return to Earth was a hero's welcome, shadowed by impending doom. Captain Rice and her surviving crew brought not just a captured Vraks vessel, but also critical intelligence on the alien threat. Earth had 9 months, perhaps a year, before the main Vraks armada would arrive. They're coming with everything they have, Rice explained to the United Earth Defense Council, a hastily assembled body representing all nations. Based on what we've decoded from their navigation systems, they view us as a significant prize, not because of our technology, but because of our biological diversity. The implications were chilling. The Vraks weren't just conquerors. They were collectors, incorporating useful biological and technological traits from subjugated species into their hive. Admiral Kwan, head of Earth's modest space defense force, leaned forward. "What are our chances, Captain? Speak freely. If we fight conventionally." 0. Rice activated a holographic display showing Vraks' weapon capabilities. Their energy weapons can slice through our best armor like tissue paper. Their shields adapt to whatever hits them. We can't outgun them. "Then we don't try," said Dr. Esther Cohen, lead scientist of the newly formed Vraks Analysis Division. Captain Rice's team discovered 2 critical weaknesses. First, the Vraks rely heavily on an interconnected neural network for tactical coordination. Second, their biological technology is vulnerable to specific electromagnetic frequencies. Over the following months, Earth transformed. Old political rivalries dissolved in the face of extinction. Resources poured into defense initiatives, but not the expected ones. Instead of building bigger guns or stronger armor, humanity focused on disruption and deception. In orbital shipyards, conventional warships were retrofitted with EMP weapons. On the far side of the moon, a massive array of transmitters was constructed, designed to broadcast frequencies that would interfere with Vraks' neural networks. And in a stroke of inspiration, Dr. Cohen's team developed what they called chameleon drones, small, stealthy devices that could mimic Vraks' communication signals, creating false targets and confusing their command structure. Captain Rice, now Admiral Rice, worked closely with tactical teams to develop battle strategies that would seem irrational to the methodical Vraks. "They expect us to protect our population centers, to fight head-on," she explained. "So we'll do the opposite." Earth's population was temporarily relocated to hardened underground facilities. Cities were left as empty shells, rigged with surprises for any Vraks ground forces. The captured alien vessel was studied exhaustively, revealing not just technological secrets, but insights into Vraks' psychology and social structure. "They've never failed," Dr. Chen noted during one strategy session. "Not once in their recorded history have they encountered a species that successfully resisted. This creates a critical blind spot. They don't know how to handle failure." 9 months after Reyes's return, long-range sensors detected the Vraks armada entering the solar system. 50 capital ships and hundreds of smaller vessels, a force that dwarfed humanity's combined fleet. Admiral Kwan addressed the unified Earth forces from his command center beneath the Himalayas. "For the first time in human history, we fight not as nations but as a species. We are outgunned, outmatched in almost every conventional metric. But we have something the Vraks cannot comprehend: the human capacity for innovation in the face of impossible odds." The battle began at the edge of the solar system. As expected, the Vraks advanced in perfect formation, their tactics precisely as predicted from Captain Rice's original encounters. They clearly anticipated minimal resistance. What they encountered instead was chaos by design. Earth's fleet didn't form a defensive line. Instead, ships operated in small, autonomous groups, using the solar system's gravity wells and radiation belts to mask their movements. They struck in seemingly random patterns, a hit-and-run attack near Neptune's moons, a brief engagement in the asteroid belt, then complete radio silence before appearing elsewhere. The Vracs responded with increasing force, but always following the same tactical doctrines. When 3 human destroyers appeared to malfunction near Mars, Vracs vessels moved in to capture them, only to be caught in massive EMP fields that disabled their neural networks. As the aliens adjusted their shields to counter electromagnetic attacks, human forces switched to gravitational weapons that created localized distortions, tearing Vrac ships apart from within. Their learning, Admiral Rice noted from her command ship, the reclaimed and retrofitted Dauntless, but they're learning too slowly. They adjust to each tactic individually rather than anticipating our adaptability. The most effective strategy came from an unexpected source. A team of video game designers who proposed treating the solar system as a multiplayer arena. Human ships would appear to follow recognizable patterns, only to break them at critical moments. The Vracs, attempting to predict human movements based on observed behavior, found themselves continually one step behind. When the aliens finally reached Earth orbit, they faced an apparently abandoned planet. Scans showed no significant population centers, no obvious military targets. Confused, the Vracs commander dispatched ground forces to investigate. This was the moment Earth had prepared for. As alien dropships entered the atmosphere, they triggered a symphony of coordinated countermeasures. The moon-based transmitter array activated, broadcasting directly into the Vracs neural network. Simultaneously, major population centers that had been rigged with specialized devices generated electromagnetic fields precisely tuned to the frequency that disrupted Vracs' biological technology. The effect was devastating. Vracs drones fell from the sky, their neural connections severed. Command ships in orbit experienced cascading system failures as conflicting signals overwhelmed their biological components. The Chameleon drones activated, flooding Vracs' communications with contradictory orders and false information. In orbit, Admiral Rice gave the command for Earth's fleet to emerge from hiding positions around the Moon and among orbital debris fields. They struck the disoriented Vracs ships with everything they had. Conventional weapons now effective against compromised alien shields. The Vracs attempted to adapt, but faced with multiple simultaneous attacks on different vulnerability points, their hierarchical decision-making structure became their downfall. Without clear commands from their leaders, individual Vracs vessels fell into predictable defensive patterns the human forces had trained specifically to counter. 3 days after the Vracs reached Earth, the alien commander's flagship attempted to retreat. Admiral Rice, recognizing the strategic importance of preventing any Vracs from reporting back to their empire, led a daring assault on the massive vessel. Using knowledge gained from the captured ship, a small team boarded the flagship and uploaded a computer virus designed to corrupt the Vracs' navigational system. The flagship, attempting to jump to faster-than-light travel, vanished in a spectacular implosion as its drive systems catastrophically failed. Bereft of leadership and with their neural network in shambles, the remaining Vracs forces were systematically isolated and neutralized. In the aftermath, as Earth began to rebuild and process the enormity of what had occurred, Admiral Rice addressed the Unified Planetary Council. The Vracs were not defeated by superior firepower or technology, she said. They were defeated by humanity's greatest strength, our unpredictability, our creativity, our refusal to follow expected patterns when facing extinction. We turned their greatest advantage, their unified, predictable efficiency, into their fatal weakness. Scientists studying captured Vracs technology estimated humanity's technological development would advance by centuries within a few decades. More importantly, the remnants of the Vracs navigational database revealed a galaxy teeming with intelligent life, some free, many under Vracs domination. We're not alone in fighting the Vracs, Admiral Rice concluded, standing before a map of nearby star systems. And now we have the means to reach potential allies. The Vracs never expected us to defeat them, let alone to take the fight beyond our solar system. She looked out at the assembly, representatives of a humanity forever changed by first contact. They thought they found an isolated world of primitive beings ripe for conquest. Instead, they awakened a species that will never again be confined to one small planet. Humanity is going to the stars, not just as explorers now, but as liberators. As the captured Vracs technology revealed its secrets, humanity prepared for its new role in the galaxy. The species that had innovated its way out of extinction would now bring that same ingenuity to the stars, and the Vracs Empire would soon discover that their worst defeat was only the beginning.